Hello Facebook, hello YouTube, what is up everybody? This is Ruben and I'm back with another Ruben Report. For today's video, we are going to be doing the install of the 42 tooth rear sprocket, and we are going to be testing the effectiveness of the 16:42 gear ratio, and later on we're also going to be installing the 15 tooth front sprocket with this prevailing torque nut. So I'll be able to swap between my 16 tooth front sprocket and the 15 tooth front sprocket very easily. Okay. The 42 tooth sprocket is what's going to be going on the back. There is a 43 tooth sprocket on there right now. So the gearing setup that I currently have on the bike is a 16 in the front, 43 in the rear. I just generally assume that everybody already knows how the KLR 650 performs with the stock gearing. I think it's a general consensus. There's plenty of other information out there when it comes to the 16 tooth front sprocket and the 43 rear, so stock rear. But I haven't found much information about like a 1542 setup or a 1642 setup. So that's what this video is going to be about. We're going to install it, and then we're going to be testing how the bike performs with each gearing ratio. But for those who may not know, well, I've only ridden the bike with 16 front and 43 rear, so I can just run down what top speed the bike achieves in fifth gear at certain RPMs. Alright, so this clip is going to be our baseline clip with the 1643 gearing. This is the gearing that I've always had on the bike ever since I purchased it. So we're just going to take a look at what speed the bike runs at certain RPMs. So as I'm getting up to speed here, I'm going to start with the speed that the bike goes at 3,000 RPMs, which we see here is about 45 miles an hour. Okay, and then as we continue to accelerate, we get up to 3,500 RPMs, which is my general cruising speed, and that is around 52 miles an hour. We continue to accelerate, and when we get to 55 miles an hour, which is my desired cruising speed, the bike tends to run somewhere around 3,750 to 3,800 RPMs. It's not completely at 4K. We continue to accelerate, and we get up to 4,000 RPMs, and we get a GPS speed of 57 miles an hour. All right. And then we continue to accelerate all the way up to 4,500 RPMs. This is generally how I like to ride on the highway when I do ride on the highway, and that's at about 65 miles an hour. And lastly, I get up to 70 miles an hour GPS, which is around 4,900 RPMs. So right before 5K. All right, there you have it. I went ahead and posted all the measured speeds at the given RPMs that we tested. Once again, this is for the 1643 gearing combo. All right, I am back home. I got the rear wheel off, and it was pretty straightforward. And just like with my other video when I removed the front wheel to install the new brake rotor, the axle and the bearings on the back wheel, right, are in dire need of a cleaning and some new grease, because this smells like tar pretty much. So I'm going to go ahead and get this new sprocket on. I'm going to clean things up. I'm going to get my grease gun, put some new grease on the bearings, and we'll get everything buttoned up. Alright, so we have everything all cleaned up now. On the other side as well. Okay. Got the hub off. Alright. Pretty much all cleaned up. That's all cleaned up. And this here. We're gonna still need to clean this up. And oh yeah, this guy here as well, cleaned up. This is the old sprocket. It looks like it's a JT sprocket actually. So it's good to know that this sprocket looks relatively new. I mean, it still looks like it's in pretty good, decent shape. So this is definitely not the stock sprocket. My bike has a little over 15,000 miles right now, so it's good to know that this sprocket was changed at some point. Alright, so I'm going to get my grease gun, lube all these parts, get the new sprocket on, and then we'll get the wheel back on the bike. Alright, new sprocket is on. All greased up. All greased up on the other side as well. She is ready to go back on. Alright guys, the wheel is back on. Alright, here's my new sprocket. I actually already took the bike for a little test run just to make sure everything runs well. And to make sure also that my back brake still works. So everything is working fine. And so tomorrow I'm going to be going out and getting some top speed tests or just some overall performance tests with this new gearing setup. So stay tuned until that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, what is up everybody? It is the next day. It's a beautiful day out. I'm going to try to get some miles in, test out the new gearing on the bike before we get some downpour. So I'm going to be taking you guys along with me. Again, the GoPro camera, and we're going to get to see what speeds the bike goes at what type of RPM. And we are off again. This is with the new 16 tooth front and 42 tooth rear gearing setup. And to start things off here, we're going to measure what speed we're going at around 4,000 RPM. And as you guys can see, it's generally around 45, 46. So 46 miles an hour is what we're doing at 4,000 RPMs now. And now we're going to be accelerating up to my cruising speed or cruising RPMs of 3,500 RPMs. And we are going 53 miles an hour. All right. And we continue to accelerate up to 55. And that is about 3,700 RPMs. And then we continue to accelerate once again up to 4,000 RPMs. And we're doing around 58 miles an hour now. We continue, we go up to 4,500 RPMs, and we get about 66 miles an hour. So with this pattern, we're seeing a general increase across the board of about 1 mile an hour faster than the previous gearing of 1643. It's not as much of an increase as I had hoped, but it's still an increase nonetheless. In this clip, I made a U-turn because I wanted to test the 70 mile an hour RPM speed as well. I was just running out of road, and as we can see here, we are reaching about 70 miles an hour at around 4,800 RPMs now instead of 4,900 RPMs. So from these results, we can see that the gearing change overall has only made a very slight increase in top speed. Generally across the board, we are seeing a 1 mile per hour difference at any given RPM, and for the typical cruising speeds of 55 miles an hour, and in the case of the 70 miles an hour, we're also only seeing a decrease of about 100 RPM in those cases as well. Alright guys, we are back in our garage. Pretty much the results that we have gotten from today and the day from yesterday. The 42 tooth sprocket in the rear pretty much only makes a 100 RPM decrease overall, like across the board, which then results into a 1 mile an hour top speed increase. So it's not really that significant. Did I achieve my goal of wanting to get a little bit closer to my cruising speed, or desired cruising speed of 55 miles an hour at 3,500 RPMs? Yeah, we did, but I personally, I wouldn't spend, the extra 25 bucks to get the 42 tooth rear. It's really not that big of a change. From my calculations, or just from my speculations, I think a 16:41 gearing ratio would probably be ideal. I just couldn't find a 41 tooth sprocket at all anywhere. So when it comes to the 15 tooth 42 tooth gearing ratio, I'm just going to go ahead and make a guess. It's probably just going to be the exact same results that we have with the 16. Obviously, with the stock gearing, well, you guys know already how fast the KLR goes with stock gearing. So however fast it goes, if you put one tooth lower on the back, you're basically just going to get an increase in 1 mile an hour, or whatever speed you were able to go before. It's going to be 100 RPMs less. All right, that's pretty much it, folks, for this video. I hope you guys found it informative. Until next time, guys, stay safe out there, and peace.